So hello to all of you on the live stream and in this Zoom meeting. Thank you for joining us. This is one of our Thursday Zoom meetups, and they're the public-facing part of the vidwheel Creator Network. What is the VCN? It is a group that brings together Sorry about that. Checking on the live stream. It's a group that brings together solopreneurs who aspire to take our businesses to the next level with self-produced video. We draw on the experience of the community. We bring in industry experts. We have courses and guides to help you through the process of making video and making it work for your business to give you better reach, efficiency, and growth. If you find that intriguing, please join us for one of our next events. Today's meeting is the last in our programming for the video sales month, but next month we open new programming that focuses on opportunities and planning when it comes to video. That programming kicks off with a live stream version of our January podcast, which features success and mindset coach Christos Angelidakis on January 3rd at 12:15 Eastern. Christos is joining us from the Athens, Greece area. That'll be followed soon after by a presentation out of California by Carl Ponto, presenting how to easily create video stories that build trust with your best clients. Those events and all future events can be found at events.vidwheel.com. And those are, I just dropped that link in the chat. That link's also in the description for this live stream. And with that, we'll go right on to the main event. I'm presenting today, so I'm going to go ahead and spotlight myself. And we'll see how we get through all this. I got a lot of windows to open when I present myself, so we'll see how it all goes here. Today, and well, for those of you on the live stream who I have not already introduced myself to, my name's Neil Carroll. I'm the owner and founder of vidwheel LLC, and it's the company who's putting on this presentation, and it's great to have you all here. And with that, let's get into the presentation itself. This is a presentation called Leverage Video and Social for Ick-free Successful Sales. This presentation is about my sales system. It's not really as video focused as a lot of the stuff I do, but that said, there's going to be some video elements. So we'll see I'll let you know where those elements are and so on. And I should let you know, as I have a habit of doing, I've packed a lot into this presentation, which means that I'm not going to go into great detail on every aspect. But just as I did with the meeting last month, I will make all elements of this presentation available to you. Visit ick-free.vidwheel.com to view the presentation at any time after this meeting. And there are links to the Trello board I'm going to talk about and demonstrate, a visualization of the sales system and the presentation itself. So that's Ick-free, ickfree.vidwheel.com. So why Ick-free? Why is that part of this? Well, if you're like me, you maybe have always struggled with sales. I was first a creative that went into business, not a business person, not a salesman. So it just doesn't come real naturally to me. So I've taken a number of different tacks to try and figure out sales within my business over the years. I've tried to hire people. They never quite seem to know my business or capabilities or the path forward as well as I would like them to sell effectively. I've hired coaches, and under their guidance, the sales process got, well, often icky. Pushing people to buy things, convincing people to buy something that maybe wasn't quite the best fit, or selling something that, you got to figure out after the fact. And come to think of it, a lot of my sales people did the same things. Overall, I think a lot of these icky sales tactics, the make the sale and go from there, cost more clients and opportunity than we actually gained in sales. And so those icky vibes are what I've worked hard to avoid in developing this system. Now, if you use the system I lay out here, it does still take some effort. It does take some coordination. It may be the scenic route versus the very direct route of some of those ickier tactics, but it works, and your sales process will leave you feeling good about what you're doing and closing sales. So with that, let's get to it. In this presentation, we're going to look at the basic philosophy and elements of the sales system that I'm talking about. We'll look at how you can execute it, and then we'll look at the secret to making it a success. Overall, the system is based on a really simple concept. Put your prospects' needs first. So it's not about your sales quota. It's not about fitting a round peg in a square hole. It's about looking at your prospects at any stage of engagement here and considering how you can help them reach their goals. It's really that simple. A couple of pertinent pieces of this system and notes about it. First, that ick feeling. It's driven by a self-centered process. And when all you're trying to do is close the sale, it doesn't feel good always in the end. And though that self-centered process has been widely satirized and panned, it is still common, and it's often what's taught in a lot of the trainings or by coaches. So I just want to let you know it doesn't have to be like that. To repeat my own phrase, consider your prospects' needs. To be clear, this doesn't mean give all your knowledge and skill away, because that might be what your prospect needs, but it means that you need to genuinely give your prospects the best path forward to success, regardless of whether that's your path or someone else's path. And the next note there, when you do have a next best step for your client, make sure it's an easy one. This meeting right here that you all are in, if you're in the live meeting, is one of my easy next steps, right? An invite's as easy as me sending along a link. A sign up is as easy as you entering your email and showing up. That kind of easy is what you want when you are looking at creating this system. And one more note on the system. This is an area I can improve on quite a bit myself. There are a number of touches and interactions throughout the system. It's designed to be low pressure. But if at any moment during these steps, the stars align and your offering is the perfect solution for your prospect, ask them to purchase your services or your product. Referring back to the base concept here, your prospect's needs. If your prospect needs your solution now, don't make them pass through all the stages of this sales system just for the sake of it. Again, serve your client. And with that, we'll get into some of the nuts and bolts. So when we talk about this system, we're going to talk about 3 stages in the system. Each one of these stages is its own funnel that kind of moves people on to the next stage. So there's a lot of elements. And with that said, if you want a closer look, again, go to ick-free.vidwheel.com. If you click this arrow or this screenshot at that point, it'll push you on to the Prezi I created, which will allow you to drill way down on these elements. But here's a short version of how it works. So prospects move from one stage to the next. And as they do, you get an opportunity to learn more about them and ultimately help move them forward with whatever their project or their problem is. The first stage, social media, is really just marketing. There's not a lot of interaction or sales opportunity at this stage. It's more an introduction that feeds into the next stage. The second stage, we get into a little more interaction, and it's tied to my interaction CRM, which you'll see shortly. I'm going to demo it for you. The last stage is tied to the more traditional sales. And we have a CRM for that too, called the Service CRM, that you're welcome to check out. But this is for people who have already bought in some meaningful way. One last note here on the presentation itself. If I put an asterisk next to one of the elements, that means that's a place I use video and a place to easily incorporate it. Okay, I brought up funnels. So I assume everyone's familiar with the concept of a sales or a marketing funnel, but if not, here's a quick rundown. A funnel is a path that your prospects can follow to reach a certain goal. Yeah, Carolyn loves the funnels. All right, I see it in the chat there. Excellent. Your basic funnel has 3 sections. The top section, the widest and most inclusive, is the awareness section. People don't know yet, and you want to make them aware. That's how you qualify that section. The middle section is the discovery section. It's where people are finding out more. You want to educate your audience in some way. And then the bottom, the most focused section of the funnel, is the decision section. People are trying to figure out if you're the best solution at that point and making a decision on the next step. Okay, so we're going to look quickly at the social media section of the system. This is what my social media funnel looks like. And it could work pretty well on any social media network. Mine is built around LinkedIn. I post 5 days a week on LinkedIn with a mix of posts from different sections of this funnel. For my general awareness posts, I put out what I like to call candy, or easy posts to consume and react to. These are GIFs and polls that are tied to our monthly theme within the VCN, but pretty general. For my discovery posts, that middle section of the funnel, I share live streams, clips, tips, and recaps. And these all tend to be video based. And at the decision section of the social media funnel, it's all about, for my purposes, getting people to attend one of these meetings, just like the one we're in now. I occasionally also will throw out links to our classes or downloads that we do. But that's it's all about getting people to take action at that point. I'm not going to go deeper into the social media funnel aspects here, because I'm going to have a full presentation on social media content campaigns coming out in a few months. But the basics are, in your own social media funnel, make sure you're hitting all the funnel sections: awareness, discovery, and decision, to be sure you're engaging with potential prospects where they are on their journey. And when those posts start generating comments and conversations, it's time to move on to the interaction stage, for which I've created my interaction CRM. If you want to get to the interaction CRM, there's a link right here in the presentation. Again, you go to the ick-free.vidwheel and you can go get that. This thumbnail or image will bring you there too. So this is a space that my process is a little different than what a lot of people do. I developed it to bridge that awkward gap between posting stuff on social media and the kind of more traditional sales process where you're talking about, buying and selling things and your services and so on. It's built around having a free or low-cost offer for your prospects. So for me, again, I keep bringing it up, it is these Zoom meetings. This is the free offering that I have as my overall goal when I come out the other end of this interaction CRM. When you're considering what to use for your offer in this stage, I do have a couple of guidelines. You want to be sure whatever your offer is gives you a chance to actually interact with your prospects and prove yourself. You get to be able to show folks that you know what you're doing, give them value. It could be a workshop, a meeting, a presentation, a virtual course. But to go back to this, our Zoom meetups as an example here, they're educational, they're valuable, they give folks a chance to check out my teaching style, my personality, and I get a chance to prove that I know what I'm talking about. So that's the level that you want that free or low-cost option to be in this interaction stage. And once you get that, an offer locked down that you think will work there, you can start moving folks through this funnel. And to do that, we're going to take a look at a template I've created for this interaction CRM. You're all welcome to use it for your own businesses. I built it in Trello, and you can access it for free. Let me just pop on over there. This is what it looks like. And it is a template. So the first thing you would do if you want to utilize it is right up here. It says create a board from template. You would click that. You can name it. We'll just name it test so I can get back to it easily. And then it will create that board. It's going to have all the same cards and functionality on it. So this test board, the first column I'll kind of talk about is these core docs. I put this on a lot of my Trello boards. It's always useful to know the purpose of what you're doing with this board. For me, that purpose would have something to do with getting people to the Zoom meetups, right? Ideal customer descriptions, always helpful too. On pretty much anywhere to know that you're talking to the right people. You got spots for supporting docs and resources. And then, of course, you should have a couple of goals tied to any campaign that you put out there. So I'm not going to go any deeper there, but that's all pretty basic stuff. And, feel free to ask questions if you do want me to go deeper on any of that stuff. So next, we'll look at the sections here. You'll notice we have 3 sections that are the same sections that we talked about in our funnel and our system setup. The awareness section, commenting, discovery section, which is connected, and the decision section, which is direct messaging. So if you're doing all your social posting, something we didn't talk about in that section is you also should be commenting, right? I think this is becoming more commonly accepted that if you're pushing out social media, you also should be reaching out via social media. But either way, if you comment on somebody's post or they comment on yours, what you do is you add a card here with that person. And Don, I'll pick on you because I can see you through the crack of all the windows on my desktop here. So we'll put in Don. Oh, now I got to spell his name. Okay, there, Don. So Don just commented on one of the posts I put out, or I went and found something he did. We make a card for him. We put his LinkedIn profile link here. And, if you haven't used Trello, this is the functionality of it. You can put all kinds of notes on that card. So I can say like, Don said, great job on, great job on post X, and you can even include a link there so you can easily get back to it. That'll give you kind of a running idea of what your relationship looked like with that prospect. And what I do here, it's a bit arbitrary, but I like to do things in 3s. So if I've had 3 or more comments or interactions with those folks, I ask them to connect. Very often they will. Sometimes they won't, and you keep going, keep them in this column. But if they connect, they get moved over here. Sorry. And if they're once they're in the connected, you've got the same type of situation. You're still commenting, but this list becomes a little more important than this list. These are people who have showed some interest in what you're doing. So, look at their profile once in a while, comment on their stuff. You may get some reciprocity there too. If you get another back and forth with 3 or more comments there, ask them or start a direct message conversation. And once you get there, you can move them down here. That direct message conversation, this is important. Like so many direct messages are totally impersonal, and you can tell they're a canned message. You might have got one before this meeting when I copy pasted a message about how to get the link to this meeting. These should be personalized. Like at this point, you have a mini relationship with this person. Just talk about the last comment that they commented on yours or you commented on there. It's that simple. It's a conversation. Be human. After a little bit of back and forth, if it looks like it could be a fit, ask them to consume your product that you came up with, your offering. That's the word. So if it's a free event or if it's a low cost thing, that's where you can then give them that ask. One last thing, if somebody's, cool, but maybe not a prospect, I keep a list of partners here, and these are mostly people I refer out to. I left some of the folks on that I have a tendency to do that with, even in the template, if you want help with any of these things. And you can leave them there. You can check in with them. You can continue to interact with them. But this is kind of where it ends for their path in your CRM. If somebody like Don's here, Don's been to the meeting. So if you're going to use both of the templates I put together, I would then take Don and I would put them over on, my sales board and put them on one of the lists and hit move. Don's card is now gone to the other board, and you kind of go like that. So that said, if you are using a CRM system already, it might make sense to just take them off of Trello and put them in your CRM. They're now a pretty serious prospect who's gone through some of the stages. And if you're using Trello, then yeah, that's an option too. Let me get over here. Okay, so we're back to our presentation. The next stage of this system is service. So I do have the service CRM. We're not going to have a chance to get into it today, but it looks a lot like that interaction CRM. So if you get into this presentation, you should be able to figure it out pretty easily there. Just move people along as they move through the different stages. From here on out, it's pretty standard sales stuff. The difference is you're not trying to convince a bad fit prospect to buy from you. You and your prospect have some rapport, you've got some familiarity, you've already delivered some value to them. And if they've made it this far, you can very likely help them. So in the awareness stage or section here, you can let your prospect know about events, services, products that maybe they're not aware of yet. You can invite them to take a discovery call. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. Prospects who aren't quite ready tend to kind of stay in the space for a bit. That's okay. Let them kind of get to their point in their journey, but keep in contact with them. The next section here, the discovery section, is all about finding out more when you're at this service level space. So what I like to do is I schedule a video call with a prospect, and that video call is all about them. I keep it short. My calls are 15, I have a 15-minute and a 30-minute version, but I dive deep into the pain points of the prospect to see if my services are a good fit on that call. The prospect should do the vast majority of the talking. I listen and I try to answer these questions through conversation. Can I solve their problem? What's their budget? Do they have the time and will to be successful in our setup? And because I'm building a community, are they a culture fit? Those might not be your parameters. Yours may be different, but if a prospect fits all the parameters in that discovery meeting, then it's time to make the ask. You'll be surprised how often after you work through this whole progression, that's a yes. And of course, at any point in any of these stages, if you determine that the prospect's not a fit and they don't check all the boxes, and you think somebody else may be able to better serve them or a different path is better for them, send them down that path, because ultimately this whole system is about your prospects' needs. I find this system works well because when you use the system that doesn't make you feel icky when you're doing it, sales are a bit easier to execute. There's a defined and easy to follow plan of action and path here that you can go down. And prospects learn a lot through this process. So you get a chance to prove yourself, prove your value. And even if somebody's not a fit, if you send them down the right path, you're setting yourself up for referrals from that prospect, right? The other thing is, if you're referring people out to other folks who are a better fit, you can strengthen your network by making those referrals. And that does it. We looked at the basics of how to approach sales and what's involved in the system. It all revolves around your prospects' needs. We did a quick rundown of my process. And now that secret to success that I mentioned at the beginning, and this may sound familiar if you were here last month for my presentation, go do it, right? That's how you learn. That's how you get better. Copy my plan that we have here. Use that template. You have the tools, you have the path, and the rest is up to you. And that's going to do it for Leverage Video and Social for Ick-free Successful Sales. Visit ick-free.vidwheel.com to view the presentation and get all those links and resources. That's icky.vidwheel.com. And here we go. Coming back to it. That was a lot of talking by me. Anybody want to take over? Len, you're the co-host. No, anybody have any questions after that barrage that I just put you through? No questions. Oh boy. Okay, let me look in the chat. I thought I saw some questions come through there. Trello is amazing. Yep, Christine Haas. Agreed. Free version of Trello. Don, yes, the free version will allow you to make that template and copy it over. You should be able to use it without an issue. Okay. Yes, yeah, Carolyn, I do believe they're all free. Barb confirmed that. Jill, that's a great point. Provide them with a discovery doc of sorts prior to a call. That's a good way to get a lot of those same things, those same questions answered. You could have people kind of fill out a form, or I've done it is I'll have a form kind of behind the scenes when I'm on a call and go through and check off those things and make notes on them too. Don, how long are your videos? So which videos are those? Sales videos? So I consider all parts of the sales. I don't do video in direct messaging. I typically just type my messages. I've tried it, and in the cases I've tried it, You know, they're under a minute, right? You want to keep them super short. But the overall, you want to make them easily consumable. And if you have something to say, especially something that maybe they have to hear more than once, right? To get it, if you're explaining something really complex, I think that's where a lot of the value comes in with those sales videos. So, okay, I'm going to remove my spotlight and see if we got any other questions. Anyone else? I'm going to go look at social too. If anybody has questions, feel free to just speak up or pop them in the chat.
So Neil, got a
Hello.
question for you. How you
Sure.
doing, Neil?
Good.
So if you're using Outlook or any other email management, is that easy to drive the content into the CRM?
So you could set up, I use that CRM manually, right? Like and actually this is something that was in the presentation I pulled out. I've used so many different CRMs, and the reality of any of them for a solopreneur is if you're not filling everything out and doing all the things you're supposed to do, they're worthless. So what I've created there is a super simple way to keep track of who you're talking to and where they are in the process versus anything else. It's kind of built for social, but yes, you could easily copy and paste a message. There's actually functionality where you could forward an email to one of those cards, or you could set something else up where you have a interact. Oh, and Christine Haas says Trello plays well with email. You can add a card by forwarding. Yep, that's what I was just getting at, right? Like they'll give you an address where you can send an email to a specific card on Trello, and then it would just be housed there, right? So it will, there's a couple, it's simple, but it's not like totally automatic, if that makes sense. So
Yep. Can you build in hooks into it so that you're using other platforms or other, say your LinkedIn profile, your Facebook, you're doing your business push in that way?
You can do you can. It has functionality for automation. I use it for from the automation side. I will automate cards for different applications for video processing and so on. And you could use some of the same ideas through either something like Zapier or using whatever's built into Trello to get some of that functionality. Specifically, LinkedIn and whether you could send a post there, I'm not sure. I've not tried that. Okay. Right. So
yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Okay. Any other comments? But I don't know. What did anybody think of that? Is that helpful? Is that something you would use?
It was interesting to see how manual your process is with the Trello and how you move them from thing to thing. I've never used Trello, but that was a good representation of why you could in the sales process.
Yeah, it's I think automation can be helpful in a lot of places, but like especially for me with sales, and this is something I found from talking to other people who are much better at sales than I am. Some of what motivates you if you're not a salesperson is like seeing progress, right? So getting to take that card and move it from here to here, it keeps things a little more interesting for you. So I think that's part of why my system's a little more manual, but it doesn't take a lot of time or anything, right? Like you could dedicate a half hour to that system and, you know, be done with everything in a day, right? Like going out and making comments and moving people along and all that sort of thing. So, yeah.
Do you track the conversion rates and like the sales cycle timeline, like the average time from the time someone enters your pipeline to the time that they purchase a product, or that they do each individual checkpoint, I suppose?
I don't, but you could easily check the time of the sales cycle, because those cards, right? If you create a card, the created by date stays with the card forever.
Nice.
If you saw certain, it also records when you hit certain, like when you switch a list, right? You could see how long from point, from being on the connected list to a sale, if you wanted to, on a per card basis. But those analytics would probably be somewhat manual as well, right? So
That's
yeah.
very interesting.
It's there. Do you want to dig for it? I guess that's the question, right? So, and those are some of the downsides of a simplified system like this, is a lot of the built-in stuff that they really push for modern CRM systems wouldn't be there. But I've always found, as a very small business, I'm only juggling a handful of potential clients at a time. It's not like I got to burn through a list of 300 prospects to make a sale, right? Like, you know, if I make a handful of decent sales a year, that's all I need, right? So it's that kind of thing. And that allows me to be a lot more, I don't know, we'll say artisanal with my CRM, right? So anybody else got a questions? Or Brian, do you have something else? You're unmuted again. No, good. All right, cool. Let's see. So we are coming down toward the end of it. So maybe I'll do a closeout. You all can think. Sometimes I come in with questions, but I don't have any on my own stuff. So I will do the closeout section, and then we'll have a few moments for more questions from you all. As I mentioned, everybody live in the meeting, stick around through this section, because I've got an offer for you all after we sign off. So to all of you who joined us via live stream, thank you for coming out. Everybody in the meeting, thank you for joining me here in the meeting. I want to remind everybody, don't miss the programming tied to Opportunities and Planning Month, which is the month of January here on the VCN. All those events and future events can be found at events.vidwheel.com, and create confidently.